So we're back and covered the fats. Now there are a lot of what seems to me a lot of salt seasonings. So essentials, we got a pot, we got a pan, we got our fats. What about spices? Or
So the essential spices. I brought 3 different kinds of salt with me today because I want to talk about it because it's a very confusing subject.
you just let me know what you need from me. And
Me personally, in my home, I am almost always going to use pink Himalayan sea salt.
Okay.
Because I use it in many different things. I've got an example there in the bowl.
Okay.
And this is a fine-grained pink salt, but you can see the color differential in it and you see the variation. That's got a lot of mineral composition in it. It's got a lot of trace minerals and everything in it versus being a perfectly cleaned white iodized salt.
right.
I've never been a fan of what they call iodized table salt.
Okay.
But this is a particular thing to me. It tastes like tin to me. It has a metallic taste.
It does
So
have
I
a- I
choose
thought
not
that
to
was
use
normal.
iodized salt.
Is that I'm assuming that's because of the iodine.
That is because of the iodine in it and everything. But salts also, like I say, they have different usages and everything. This is the primary salt I'm going to use in seasoning my food while I'm cooking and to post-season to salt something to the level I want it to eat.
Okay.
I do like in salads and things of that. I typically use a very coarse ground kosher salt. I want the
Okay.
larger flakes
Okay.
in there with that.
You
And
said-
then over there on the side, I've got 2 different tins. Now, I brought these tins today because I wanted to give an example. You're going to use a number of dried spices in your kitchen and everything, and you can go and buy the $6 and $7 jars of spice.
Right.
And that's fine. It's, dried spice, but it's in that glass bottle, it's going to be exposed to light. I choose to keep all of my dried spices in metal tins.
Okay.
This allows me to close them and keep them to being exposed to both air and light, and it's going to make them last a little bit longer. This particular one I brought here is a smoked salt.
Yes.
Too bad we don't have smell on the camera and everything, but I refer to this as barbecue in a can.
yes. It,
If I'm making burgers or something and I want it to have that smoky flavor, I don't have to go out and have a smoke or something like that. I call this cheater salt. I can just season it up with some of that and it tastes like it was barbecued.
that's yummy.
So when you get into cooking and you're going deeper into it, there's so many spices. There's so
Right.
many different flavor profiles and curries and things like that. I prefer, instead of buying them from a grocer or something like that, to find a local spice merchant.
okay.
And I can go and buy bulk spice from them. This is called Grains of Paradise. It's almost like a peppercorn. But I can go buy it in bulk from them. The prices are going to be much less. I know the lineage of these spices is going to be cared for in quality. It's not going to be something that's been sitting on a shelf for 20 years
Yeah.
or something of that nature. And then because you can really get into spending a lot of money on spices,
Right.
start with a good salt and a good pepper.
Okay.
I prefer a 4-corn peppercorn blend. It's
Yeah.
got black, white, green, and red peppercorns in there. And those are they're the same peppercorns at different times and different ages and everything. So they're just going to give a broader flavor. But I do like to buy my peppercorns and grind them fresh.
Okay.
Because they do give off a better flavor and everything than a pepper that's sitting a shaker ground for who knows how long.
Okay, so hold on. So I have seen white pepper before.
Correct.
White pepper is just the same as black pepper.
It's black peppercorns with the outer shell pulled off of it.
What?
Yep.
It was more
There's
expensive.
just different ages of where they are in their lifespan and everything, and
Okay.
that's what gives it the little bit of difference in flavors.
Okay.
Now, there are colored peppercorns out there, but most of the 4 peppercorn blend you're going to buy is all black peppercorns at just different time phrases.
Okay.
And so that's going to give you a depth of flavor. One of the things that I like to use when I'm cooking is I will use the same ingredient in a recipe 2 or 3 times in different times in the recipe.
Okay.
And that flavor will be there at this level of cook, that flavor will be there at this level, that flavor will be, and so it gives a depth to food. These are one of the tricks that restaurant chefs use,
Yes.
where we layer flavor through the same thing with repeated use of an ingredient and everything. So,
So-
it's a little one of those little early cooking tricks. So when
Jordan.
you're talking about spices, salt and pepper, a good peppercorn, fresh ground, and then the salt of your choice, you can use it. And then when you start playing around with your various spices and herbs,
Yeah.
find a spice merchant, go purchase. A lot of them will sell you 25-cent little Ziploc bags of something.
Sure.
Pepper salt, a salt de fleur, a smoked salt, things of that nature, or different various peppers and things like that. When you're dealing with fresh herbs,
Right.
fresh herbs are always going to be superior to dry herbs,
Okay.
but I would rather have a dry herb than nothing.
Okay.
Typically, when I use dry herbs, I make sure to really grind them up in my fingers to break up those cells to get a little bit of that flavor out, and you can hear that smell.
surface area.
And I'll also use about twice as much as I would when I'm cooking with fresh.
Copy. Okay. There's a lot to take in here. you said this salt you would use while you're cooking.
Correct.
This salt you said you'd throw on like a salad,
A finishing salt.
finishing salt.
Maybe if I
Okay.
grilled a steak and everything, one of the
Yes.
last things I do is sprinkle some of that coarse ground salt over
Yes.
the top of it. It's going to still hold its body a little bit to that moisture that's in the steak, and when I'm eating, I'm going to get those larger flakes of salt, which is going to really boost that flavor for me.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming you brought things like a Grains of Paradise just to give me an example of them. But okay, what does it taste like? What is that?
You
That's
know,
probably a
Grains
whole
of
different
Paradise is one of those
conversation.
things. It's used a lot in brewing and everything, and it's one of those undescribable flavors. It's similar. It's not. I'm going to say not similar to saffron in flavor, but it's a very unique flavor that
Okay.
without actually trying it. I brought it just to show you the storage thing.
Sure.
But Grains of Paradise is like peppercorns.
Okay.
But they're this little, real light, almost citrusy note to them.
Okay.
I
I want to
everything,
learn.
so I like to use them in various things.
I wanna learn
I
how
am
to
a
make
big
something.
fan of flavored salts, just because, like I say, it's a way to add another layer of flavor into something with minimal effort.
Yeah.
To say,
Sure.
you know, you can get peppered salts, you can get, you know, with ghost pepper in it and everything, if you want to make something real spicy. So you can really play with them and you
Yeah.
can do them. I also keep a volcanic black salt, which I like as a finishing salt for a visual.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I want to learn how to make something with Grains of Paradise because
Okay.
that sounds awesome.
We will have a Grains of Paradise recipe in one of our early episodes. We will definitely do that.
Okay. All right. So thank you. So this was spices. So to sum it all up, make sure I'm understanding this right, Sensei. You want to have salt and pepper, and you want to store them in containers when it comes to specific spices. It'll keep them fresh. But with whatever budget level, maybe a couple of different salts.
No, start with just a good pink salt, a good quality salt and
Okay.
everything. As you play more with cooking and you want to branch out into the different salts, you can do so. One of the great things about salt is it's a very inexpensive, it's not even a spice, it's just a nutrient.
Yeah,
I have trouble
yeah.
calling it a spice.
Sure.
It's so important that
Sure.
it goes well above spices
Yeah.
and everything. So the salt is something you can play with for fairly inexpensive.
Yeah.
I think the key thing to understand is just when you start playing around with spices, you can invest way too much money early. Play with it, see what you like. That's why I like going to a spice merchant and buying. I can buy in smaller and larger quantities and control them. Like I say, I know the quality is going to be really good.
Copy.